My name is Kainchand Genius, and today I'm going to start with tutorial 1 on our TensorFlow tutorial for data science and machine learning. And we are going to set up TensorFlow at this point with Jupyter Notebook. So let me just go ahead to get started. I'm going to go to, right now I've installed Anaconda. So I actually made some few steps here, as you can see. Download and install Anaconda, open Anaconda, and so on and so forth. Okay, so let's try to use TensorFlow. Let me just show you that TensorFlow is not really working for now, so that we can set it up. So let me open a new notebook by saying new Python 3, and a new notebook opens up like this. Now I'd like to remind you to subscribe to my channel by hitting the subscribe button below, and then you'll get notified when I make updates on new lessons. So hit the subscribe button. If you have challenges, also let me know. So if I say import TensorFlow as TF and I run this cell, it tells us no module named TensorFlow. So let's set up TensorFlow as part of tutorial 1. I'm going to close everything. Just yes, leave it. So if you are working with TensorFlow, it's better you use something called Anaconda Navigator. So if you go to Anaconda, your installation, you'll see Anaconda Navigator here. Just open it. So once you open Anaconda Navigator, it gives you the Anaconda Navigator interface at this point. Now you need to pay really close attention to what I'm going to explain at this point. So if you look at applications, you'll see we have base and root. Now, if I go to environments, you'll see the environment, and we have two environments. Now you can create a new one. If you create a new environment, it means that you can call that environment a different environment. But for now, you can see base environment. If you go to base, and if I check what is installed, let's say I type TensorFlow, you see that there is no TensorFlow installed in the base environment. Now I created another environment by saying create, call it TensorFlow. Now if I go to this environment I created, I've installed TensorFlow in there. So I'll also recommend create a new environment and then install TensorFlow. Let me show you how to install TensorFlow. So after creating a new environment, you simply go to not installed, and then you search for the name of the module TensorFlow, and simply check it by clicking the checkbox and then apply. But now I've installed TensorFlow, so you can do the same thing on base, and you can do the same thing for TensorFlow. So this is the one we created. I've installed TensorFlow in this one. So when I go to install, you can see that for TensorFlow we have TensorFlow installed. So we have two environments at this point. So how does it work? If we now go to our program files and go to Anaconda, take note that we now have two Jupyter Notebook versions, not versions, two Jupyter Notebook environments here. So if I'm working with TensorFlow, I'll simply choose Jupyter Notebook TensorFlow. Of course, if there's any module missing from TensorFlow, just come here, go to uninstall, not installed, and look and search for that module, maybe NumPy or whatever it is. Simply select it and just go ahead to install it. Okay. All right. So I've installed and I've opened the new Jupyter Notebook now for TensorFlow. And if I go to new at this point, start a Python 3 file. So at this point, I'm going to call this, I'm going to rename it to be tutorial 1. And yeah, so let me just put TensorFlow tutorial 1, TensorFlow tutorial 1. All right, so now if we try to import TensorFlow, so what you are going to do is just say import TensorFlow as TF. So I'm going to run it, and you see that it's going to run successfully. You can look at this place, you see that it's busy, but it's eventually going to run. After importing TensorFlow, we need to import Keras. So let me also write it here as well. Import. Now Keras is part of TensorFlow, so simply say from Keras, import from TensorFlow, import Keras. From TensorFlow, import Keras. Okay. So I'm going to run. All right, so the next thing is I'm going to import NumPy and Matplotlib because we are going to be using it to analyze the fashion MNIST dataset in tutorial 2. So I'm going to just put a comment, import matplots lib and numpy. So I'm going to put a comment as well, import TensorFlow and keras. Okay. All right. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to import matplotlib.pyplots as plt and import numpy as np. Yeah. So we've done all the importations at this point. So I'm going to. There is no module named matplotlib.pyplots. .pyplot. So there is a typo here. .pyplot. Okay, perfect. All right, so now we've set up TensorFlow. Everything is working. I think we've completed tutorial 1. Again, let me just check the version of TensorFlow we have. Print tf dot underscore version underscore. At this point, we can see that we have version 1.14.0, which is the latest version as of late 2019. I'm going to stop here. I'd like to remind you, subscribe to my channel by hitting the subscribe button, and let's now move on to tutorial 2. Feel free to mention any challenges you have if you have any challenges following my lessons.